So my mother, who could not care less about me and what happens to me, who tells me to a point where she can tell me, go kitchening the way di mo borang ka teng. She would have an incentive then, this time around, to deal with this bugger. Because this bugger has come for the apple of her eye. My little sister. That is how much of a menace this guy is. So it turns out that in order for you to do anything right by your entire countries, the Lord has then got to come for your own children. He's got to come have the affliction slap your own backyard before you will ever correct the status quo that is being done against Christians. I'm being ignored because I'm a child of God. I'm being ignored because I've been made a second-class citizen due to my Christianity. But then, when this comes to Jagatayahao, the pagan, when this comes to Jagatayahao, the pagan, when it comes to your backyard, the pagan, the unbeliever, the agnostic, the sangoma, the ancestral worshipper, that's when it starts to get personal, right? Well, now herein lies the deal. My mom's little favorite princess kid is being dealt a bad blow by Dweba aside America ke zombie. She is walking around like a puppet on a string. I keep looking at her, wagging my head on some. If only you knew. Another continent altogether. Marawandela. Because I'm the only one that's going to successfully pray off the dizzy spell you're in until you snap out of it. Mara. You still disrespect the living daylights out of me, even though I'm the only one that can cure you from the fact that you've become a marionette and a conduit for demonic spirits from a guy in America. Born? So since this guy's now a whole, parasite trying to infiltrate the bloodstream of South Africa, Kifilangara, do you now perhaps maybe have an incentive, occult randos, to fulfill the prophecy that the Lord God Almighty gave me, that Njaya Twansin the occult? I cannot take him out. I asked this morning, I was like, God, why doesn't he just get involved in a shooting since he's a violent man? Why can't somebody just shoot him? In America, there's mass shootings happening in stores where people are shopping. Why doesn't just one mass shooter just unleash a live round into his head in Jeffella? Why doesn't he wake up in the morning and get a stroke and then die? Why can he not just be taken out because he is the bane of my existence? And God keeps on telling me over and over again, this guy will not be given the glory of cancer. He won't be given the glory even of full-blown AIDS. He won't be given the honor of being covered in American news in another mass shooting as one of the victims that sadly passed away, and have somebody talk about him on some, oh, he was such a great guy. Oh my goodness, it would have been really awesome if this didn't happen to him. He was just sitting around and the next thing, boom, like a stray bullet went into his room and next thing he was dead. He does not deserve to be spoken of as a man that was unfairly knocked out of the earth. He has to take himself out in the very he lived by the sword, so he gotta die by the sword. He has to commit suicide. There is no other way that the Lord has set apart for him to die. And I gotta just sit around waiting for Raipulai, to a point where I told him in that email, if because you are in America, not personally, I would probably go nyokogitangari Sun City for having killed you. Nka go bolaya myself ka matsoga minaiza ke go batle mo gatleng teng o busy ntse o target family ka fela to a point where ke re le o swa ka jwanong sele puppet sele Annabelle jwanong a conduit for demonic spirits. Mpopi fela walking up and down in these streets controlled by a demon. Akakwazi nokuzibona. Can't realize ukuthi her behavior is strange and different. Why is she doing this? She can't even ask herself that question. To her, it's normal in Jeffella to change her mind like that overnight. To suddenly have grand hostilities in her heart against her older sister that never used to exist yesterday. This is normal for her. For her to just in Jeffella develop anger overnight. Why sometimes they develop the feelings of sexiness in the presence of some guy? If you didn't have a crush yesterday, why do you want to crush? Why didn't you get my emotions all of a sudden out of the blue? That's how they work. My feelings out of the blue that you don't know. Anger, spite, jealousy, sabotage. All of a sudden, so much losing at a motor bocamoso. Can't do one motor controlling situation. Gelzina. Next thing will be Mona trying to cheat on him, flirting with a dude in the office. What kind of rubbish is that? You are content in your marriage. Spirits. These things are raised up from the ground, kitty spirit. Why is I put over? Why am I banning jana? Why is my little sister not asking herself why? What's with the attitude? I don't be na Josie. What's with the attitude proper? Why is I put over I'm fit. Then again, lacking cognizance, lack of understanding. Busy walking these streets doing a strange little anomalous thing. Busy kitchening. To a point where the only that she's got to walk around because we're now the footprint the footprints of which and that was I put out lunch this morning. ke eng e kana e o tsogile mo godima yona re tlo go tellisa kana ba botlho ga kana this morning ine ngaka exchange some minds ngomuntu mo smile most this morning and then the next thing wavukelwa isanting yavele yakudelelisa umuntu nje that was innocent walking into the room whining asibuzi izinja man just like it kimongoletse email this guy ngamshiyela umlayeza kimoblogile to make sure lo ra gone o responda so the one sided the email is at teng ka kra abe depressed abe forlorn wankutwa ai polai mara ka se polai. He's not going to end himself because no matter how much this guy might be in love with a woman that wants nothing to do with him, ha ke tlo gona now prospera ho mo depressa to a point of go tipolai. Because frankly at this point, ke na le homicidal intentions lankutwa. Ke batla boka e hore e tlhokafale, tshwantse a tswe. He got to be taken out. Personally, I would take this matter into my own hands if he was in South Africa. Right now, I would literally snap on this guy. Mara, this guy is not supposed to die like that, according to Mudim. And sitting a whole bunch of people. He has strewn a pile of cadavers out here in these streets of people that have gone on and killed themselves and done strange things because of what he's done in the occult. He gotta go out, occult. The occult has got to kill him. And I'm not bouncing on the walls, got shrank. He's looking like a zombie out here in society. I'm not that girl. I get to be but just for the sake of it. I proper prefer to keep my lung capacity at optimal functionality. In some cold, enclosed or hot, enclosed, stuffy environment. Sufficient ventilation just so I can get a guy to drop dead. I don't do that. She frankly get it. I do not like what you do. Le nasty, le disgusting. Hakeji di tswiri, hakeji di centipede, di millipede, and all different kinds of things because I'm a contestant on Fear Factor. So since I'm not into witchcraft, you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to do it. Baloi do it. Bang chebileng by 2, by 3, by 5. By itseng show channel yaka it goes nowhere. Le America ya bona e borang. Kelon. According to the Lord, you have been set apart for the day of that guy's extinction. Enizom kipayo die Judas, not me. Akazo kipwangi because I promise you, if at all it was in my power, keeper die nonsense. Mengizom keeper self. I've got nothing to lose now. I'm living a life in Tanyani. I would end him myself, but I can't. This guy aloba led off a cliff by essentially the same puppet on a string demons that have done this to my little sister. Gotta take him to the noose. Even though it's been prophesied to him, suicide the guy, he won't be able to prevent it in the same way that my little sister cannot control her body to do a better thing. She cannot exercise self-control to do a better thing. She cannot snap into her own faculties. Intercession. Busy sleepwalker. My little sister sleepwalking is exactly how he's going to sleepwalk into eternity. He's going to sleepwalk into eternity because naye bazomenza dizzy ngama demoni that are going to send him off the edge. So ke haleka kala go chesa dimpepo tsa lona lelo chanta lelo granta lona maria lona lelo bolaya monna cause na ungtshengetsa nako and wang bora and hape u busy ntsa dila a bad blow ngwana go heso and that got real personal fast to a point where ke mongoletse email no. I look out for them. That's what's good. I need to find peace myself. So the way that I find peace is by making sure that they've got peace. That's how I live among them. Do you know how to create that chaos, a war with your intercontinental ballistic missile that is spiritual, that is going to land on my backyard? Baga, naming is let my weapons wam. Guys, base occult, you're the majority of my audience. That's why I keep Wasona in my YouTube channel. It is because guys, the majority of people who watch me have a sense. Most of the people that watch me don't make sense. A small handful are being edified as Christians. The rest of them give the occult. Because they've made sure to blind. So like right now you're probably sitting in some dark room in a shrine watching my video because you busy so cast that spell. Cast another one alone ding. To America. If you gotta knock those guys out. October because it's all up in my grill. He's gonna carry on. He's gonna continue to do a nasty, menacing thing out here in these streets, and I'm gonna keep on coming back. Nonsense extra. Maybe sufficiently enough. Well, a new thing, and then the next day, and the next day, the thing it got in us so much that finally you will snap out of your spite. The thing that you feel on some, let's just get an extra little animal or nonsense to this girl. You are going to snap out of it because he's going to become a greater evil than me. I am currently a necessary evil for you to exterminate, extinguish. It will bore so much, it will so much that you're going to find it a necessary feat to knock him out, and then you're going to come back and deal with me later. It's going to happen because it's prophecy. That's what the Lord showed me. Lo mutumpa yo bulawa ki suicide that he is going to commit ale high on the supply of occult drugs. It's going to happen. But hey, I guess unless it gets to your daughter's DMs on Facebook, you're not gonna listen to me. Ke borwa ke tweba ke tswibinki esenyang ene batho ba moheso ha ba tsebe lo tseba lo re ba busy ba controller ke tswibinki ena nna ke tsebo re ke tseng ka yona. Mara, where ngolla di email ha itlong thusa. All it's gonna do is make him irritated. If anything, I got a vision shortly after sending him yona email thing ang akhala on some whatever. Cause I we're a simple people. He thinks that prayer has no power, except no. If at all you're gonna be walking these streets, roaming around with a sword. Do you understand? You're gonna die by that sword. The Lord literally wants this guy to die occult death. He will die at the hands of the thing that he practiced. He wants him out that way. Or at the end of his life, he won't even have his faculties intact enough to cry out to Jesus. He will be a zombie, just led as a marionette on a string to jump over the edge. So he will feel in the run-up to his death everything that he did to people. The wrath is going to pile on him so heavy that he will not even be able to cry out, God, help me. Because he will be that under a control of a spell. And that's why I come and I talk about all the rubbish he does. Because it is that very communication about all the rubbish he does that's going to ultimately tip all of y'all over the edge until you do something. Gather together in your little blood-drinking seances and knock him out already. You are the wicked set apart for the day of my trouble. The Lord has set apart everything for its purposes, including the wicked for the day of my trouble. I told you, there aren't enough Christians in these last days for us to stand for ourselves, in the gap for ourselves, against the barrage of attack that is coming against us from the world. So the world gotta knock itself out. The world of witches, the world of antagonists and opposers to the body of Christ have to knock each other out. That's how the Lord is fighting our battle in these last days. He is fighting it by causing all of y'all who are in the darkness to come up against each other and knock each other out so that we can be spared. So I'm supposed to just stand back and do nothing, but I guess I will first speak. There are too few of us. We're too beleaguered. We are too scattered and spread across the countries with no help coming for us to successfully intercede for ourselves. Which then brings me to the next thing that I wanted to talk about. The most important thing that I should actually be covering right now, where the Lord is showing me the level or the severity of occult practicing in almost every church in South Africa, and how it has taken over parishioners and congregants to a point where sheep are inevitably getting scattered, and those that stick around in the environment are under so much spiritual oppression that they don't know whether they're coming or going. They've been dizzied by so much demonic attack that they think this is how life is supposed to be, because it's become a new normal to suffer spiritual attack in South Africa, to a point where nobody is even trying to fast about it anymore, because kunjena, it's like that. That's our churches. Manje, when you're sitting in a church and you are missed what apparently allegedly are Christians, you are still being afflicted by the coven in the church. And how in the world are you going to gain any reprieve? They gotta knock each other out. The dream I had was of my old church that I used to attend, where there was a whole coven operating, and God showed me it has expanded. It has only gotten bigger ever since I lost everything. It's only gained more members. It has only initiated more members into that occult cult that was running in the church. It's only gained more members. And it has, developed a drive to bring in more black youth, because it was a predominantly white church at the time that I was still a part of it. And now it has a strategy to bring in more black youth so as to create diversity in the church. Make it look as if though it's an inclusive church. So to make it look as if though it cares about the mission of God to gather for himself a people from all kindreds and tongues and nations. So they have an active drive to bring in more black youth, but only to recruit them into a cult. Like, you start a church and the next thing there's like a whole thriving cult working. I was in the bathroom at that church as a young black woman. I wasn't pretty much the woman that I am today, not the 39-year-old, but the woman that I would have been back then, who was like 27, 28. and I was in the bathroom of this and I was just like powdering and I don't know, doing something to my face, you know, things that women do when they're in bathrooms. And another black girl came in, and this black girl reminded me of a girl that I went to school with when I was Gosa John, that I used to walk to the taxis to go home every single day. And she joined me, and I was like, hi friend, how are you? And she's like, I'm good. And like, so when did you start coming to this church? Oh, just the other day. We then left the bathroom together, and when we went outside, there were other black youth just all over the show in the church. I was like, oh wow, it's so nice. Hey, I've been in this church for a while, and it's been so full of white people. I'm glad to see a black face here and there. However, in that same bathroom where I was powdering my nose, there was an elderly white man, like with his face, it looked as if it had disappeared inside his neck, trying to hide his face from being seen in the dream. Yet another spell where people are trying to cloak their identities. And he was doing a ritual sitting on a toilet seat. Whenever I see dirty bathrooms and dirty toilet seats, it's always witchcraft. And he was sitting there, hoping that I don't spot him. But I kept looking that way on some, but like, why is there a man in the girls' bathroom? And it was when I said that this guy then suddenly stood up and his head popped out of his neck and he quickly sped out so that I don't see him. In other words, they're trying to bury the cult that is operating. When I woke up, I was like, God, what was that? I don't understand. Like, what was with that? And God was like, that church that you left, that Baptist church that you used to belong to, it has not shrunk. Ever since they persecuted you, it has not lost its swagger or its whatever. Essentially, you know, Christians are like, God is going to deliver me. God is going to deliver me. And so they imagine that after people afflict them, immediately they're going to get justice. But sometimes it takes a very long amount of time for justice to come. Like after losing everything, go MTN, I was like, God is going to give me justice. And I was very confident about that. And MTN just continued to grow from strength to strength. I couldn't understand it. I could not understand why they continue to grow from strength to strength when they not only did what they did to me, but they had done it to many other employees as well. Just in Jeffela, severance of people's careers, destroying of people's lives. And yet they were allowed to continue to thrive and do whatever it is that they were doing. Still to this day, I don't have justice against MTN, and still to this day, it is one of the biggest telecommunications companies in the country. Where is my justice? Where is the justice for everybody else that they've hurt? CEOs have come and gone. I am completely forgotten. Likely the grander majority of the staff complement that was there when I was there has probably left and gone to other companies by now. It's been 10 years, almost 10 years since that happened. The company appears to be blessed and highly favored by God. It's just continuing into the future. Yeah, the Lord showed me that church is just like MTN. It not only stayed erect and continuing to do that what it's doing, but it grew. It got bigger and bigger and recruited more people, and it's more diverse now, to a point where when you walk in there, you can no longer say it's a white church. It's looking more diversified. Yeah, that's what's good. And I was like, but why? Why under heaven would you continue to thrive them like that? That's just the thing. Asaph has a similar complaint in, is it Psalm 37 or 73, where he's like, the wicked, initially I envied them, because I saw that they get prosperous, they get fat, they have there's nothing, no good thing that they lack. That's what's good. But then I saw their paths, they're slippery. I saw that there is no good end for them, their judgment is coming. And the Lord is telling me that He has allowed a lot of random rubbish to continue to do what it wants to do now, in order to hand people over to their reprobate mind that have loved their strong delusion, and so God gave it to them, and they will get away with such bad murder. Like for a church to persecute a Christian, bad. Like it's a really bad thing, and yet they got away with it. For them to get away with so violently abusing an innocent woman, I apologize for the speech lag. It shouldn't have happened that way, but instead they grew. Instead they continue to grow. The Lord has shown me that in these days, in these last days, that's going to be happening all across the world, where justice for Christians is going to seem lack, where we will be standing outside of a court judgment waiting for us to come up victorious, because it was obviously in our favor, and we're going to lose the cases. And it's just going to look as if though He's not there for us. It is the time of setting up the strong delusion, so that people will believe the lie and not love the truth, for they have not loved the truth and have taken pleasure in their unrighteousness. And this thing is going to precede the rapture. I keep saying that over and over again, where it is that these churches that are evil or with cults operating therein are going to continue to thrive and thrive and thrive and thrive. So what happened to MTN, what happened to me at MTN and the judgment of MTN, it's coming, but it's not going to happen before the culmination of world events reaches a point where the rapture has happened, the tribulation has happened, and now the second coming of Christ must happen, and then the Lord is going to establish a millennial reign. And in the millennial reign, He will entirely demolish and like remove from the face of the earth. Organizations that were very satanic like MTN, they will be nowhere to be found. I've had a dream in the past where the physical location where MTN is at was a mall. And I even told my friends that, like when I was at MTN, some colleagues that were friends of mine, I was like, I keep getting a dream where 14th Avenue is at the MTN building, gay mall. And at the time they were like, yo, okay, that sounds like a pretty intense prophecy, and they let it go. All these days down the line, it's still chilling, doing whatever it's doing as Innovation Center. It's MTN, it's a telecommunications company. But the Lord is going to demolish organizations that were so evil, so nefarious, that they made it impossible for Christians to thrive. Made it impossible for Christians to live. So organizations like Facebook and YouTube, you can dream on. There will be online platforms where people can upload content and do whatever it is that they're doing in the millennial reign, because technology is going to continue, but it's not going to be companies that you now today recognize. Organizations that went out of their way to allege with the Antichrist and did not work to at least try and honor the cause and the rights of Christians are going to be annihilated and neutralized off the face of the earth altogether. And churches, of course, are going to be found wanting that weren't really truly of God. The Lord showed me that the South African church is so bubbling and teeming at the folds with occult activity on the inside that true believers therein are like me. Always exhausted, always under attack, always sleepy, always getting headaches, always fasting and praying, and yet they can't quite knock down structures fast. A struggle for breakthrough is currently happening in the country, in the world at large, for Christians. And random strange afflictions of our persons are also going on. Okay, next part. Right now, for instance, Facebook, I went from being shadow banned on Facebook to nothing is going on at all. As in zero engagement with my posts. Even though I have still continued to upload shorts. Even though I have still I'm still uploading shorts. And my post engagement went in one day from after uploading, like I uploaded shorts and it grew from like 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 as I continued to upload shorts to 10,000 at some point. Yesterday I went in my Facebook page and it went down to 4,000. This morning I went into my Facebook page and it went down to 2,000. So they have worsened the already shadow banned state that I am in. They have doubled down. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. It happened over the past 24 hours. It is therefore no wonder why even the attack on Israel happened. That was unexpected and unseen by the IDF and the government. You know how Hamas just out of nowhere rocked up with an unprecedented attack on Israel? Yeah, stuff like that is just like there's been a shift that has happened over the past 24 to 48 hours, such that on Facebook I've got less engagement as when I was already shadow banned, and I am under attack by random cults all over the show. My body is sick. I'm going through what I'm going through, but the church at large is going through a lot. People are finding themselves all of a sudden in a position of want and lack and sorrow. They are holding on to God and they're wondering, God, but where are you? Christian persecution is ramping up. Normal is not coming back. Jesus is. The rapture is the next event that is about to happen. But before it happens, there has got to be so much lawlessness and with evil people getting away with so much murder that it is literally hunky-dory for them. They're marrying, being given in marriage. But for the church, it is a striving. What is this? What do you call this? Gratuitous violence. Unwarranted violence against us. It's just going to happen just like what happened with Israel. Israel is not saved right now, but they're about to enter into Jacob's trouble. And what happened with Hamas, the grandchild, I believe that what's going on, this thing with the attack at Hamas, God wants to neutralize, I imagine. God wants to kill, destroy Hamas altogether through what they did, because it was a naive act. That's also, people are irrational right now. They're irrational. The attack by Hamas on Israel, by Palestine on Israel, was naive because now Israel has declared war and Israel is far mightier than Hamas. So they're going to be neutralized. They're going to be knocked out and it's going to be a whole long war that happens. But in neutralizing Hamas, in making war with Hamas, it's going to raise up an ego and it's also going to raise up a battle by the allies of Hamas. So they called on Syria, they called on Lebanon, they called on Iran, they called on all the other surrounding nations that are busy making Jerusalem a cup of trembling to fight with them. So when Israel strikes back at Hamas, it is speculated that the US and everybody else is going to encourage them to de-escalate or to not fight or to not react so badly. But they have just killed in Jafela, like entire civilians, like just civilians, like they playing dirty just like Vladimir Putin. So as small as Hamas is, Israel is going to conquer it. But after they conquer it, the surrounding nations around Israel are going to be like, enough is enough with this Israel. We gotta wipe them off the face of the earth. And so they're gonna attack Israel in order to neutralize them once and for all. But this time around, they're not going to do an amateur attack that nonetheless is unprecedented and quite ridiculous, like what Hamas does. It's going to be tanks. It's going to be, instead of paragliders, this time around it's going to be entire hovering drones over Israel to try and get at them. And I believe that that is what is going to ultimately bring about the battle of Gog and Magog. So Christians speculate. Many of them wonder, as to when is the battle of Gog and Magog going to happen? Is it before the rapture? Is it after the rapture? Is it during the tribulation? Is it just be what's going on? It has to happen in the last days. And I personally believe that the rapture happens. Sorry, not the rapture. The Gog and Magog battle. Is it before the rapture or after? I personally believe that Ezekiel 38-39
in my
war,
dream. Okay,
that Ezekiel 38-39 war, I personally believe it happens at the beginning of the tribulation. Where it is that, remember, Israel has got to be a land of unwalled villages. They've got to be living basically in some kind of a semblance of peace before this Gog and Magog attack happens. Right now, there is no such peace in Israel, and the only time that I can fathom in the last days when there is that kind of peace that can cause Israel to chill out and be with no walls around their villages is if there has been a man that rose up to power, that is the Antichrist, that fostered peace in the Middle East, that fostered a peace deal. And that peace deal, I believe, comes out with the horseman on the apocalypse, that is the rider on the white horse, is the Antichrist. He's going to come with a bow, but that does not have a sword, an arrow. He's going to come with a peaceful constitution or a countenance, and he will prosper to foster peace in the Middle East. But why would he need to foster peace in the Middle East? It's because there already has always been fighting and war in the Middle East, but there's got to be an escalation of it to a point where now this guy's going to be feasibly sought after. So this Hamas thing, I believe, is going to brew up so much tension with all of the surrounding nations around Israel, and Israel is going to first succeed to conquer Hamas, then all of Hamas's allies are then going to want to make war with Israel, and the rapture will then happen. That's going to cause more chaos. People are going to wonder what's going on. And Israel, which tends to be like, we got this, like, proper, don't even try. We don't trust you when it comes to all the other surrounding nations around them. Because of the rapture, because of how unraveling and unnerving the event on its own, Israel will be like, okay, since there's also this weird stuff that's happened on the earth, I feel as if though, given that there are so many threats on the human race right now, let's foster peace, guys, because this thing that just happened the other day is worthy of us fostering peace in the Middle East, because as human beings, we cannot be at war with each other when a whole bunch of people from the earth disappeared. So the Antichrist will be raised up. He will foster peace. Israel will then be a land of unwalled villages and chilling. And then the anger and the wrath, after some time has progressed, of the surrounding nations, especially about the blood that will have been spilled of Palestinians in this war that is currently started right now in Israel, is going to continue to brew and brew and brew. And they will then look with greed and lust at all of the glory of Israel. Gog will be put a hook in his jaw, and he will salivate after the resources of Israel, and then they will do another amphibious attack. But this time around, they will be too strong for Israel, and God will himself intervene. So that's how I believe that the Gog and Magog happens at the beginning of the tribulation. And the whole world that then sees that Israel was delivered will, it is written in God's word, see that God is like the real deal. So as to how long the Gog and Magog battle lasts, I don't know. Is it the whole tribulation? I don't know. It doesn't last the whole tribulation such that the second coming of Christ also makes it clear. Like somehow they will parallel with each other anyway. That's what I think. And I am of course speculating. Don't run with what I'm saying. But this attack, this sudden amphibious random out of nowhere attack by Hamas, civilians on Israel, that just recently happened, is yet another evidence of the fact that all of these attacks coming at me and at all the body of Christ and at Israel are just priming the world for basically the getting away with murder of afflictors of God's people that's going to appear to be left unfettered, going nowhere until God himself intervenes. It's gotten to that place. I told you that the attack on Christians on the earth and the attack on Jews too is such that no one is coming for us. Like no one is coming for us. America also has to be taken out the way to not be able to respond on behalf of Israel and Gog and Magog. No one is coming for us. Look at how no one is coming for me. I'm crying on the rooftops and nobody is appropriately responding to my case. Nobody. I am alone. So when you are this beleaguered on all sides and you are alone and you can't fight and you've basically been weakened to a point of oblivion, the Lord then will go on right ahead and neutralize people through people. He will cause swords to rise up. One of the horsemen of the apocalypse is death, and men will slay one another. He will cause people to knock each other out on behalf of the minority. That's how he will take up our cause. He will hide the Christians and cause the wicked to fight each other unto death, so as to reprieve us of sorrow. The world is so evil right now that evil people are the only ones that can literally be used against each other to save us. Because we are too outnumbered and people are going too crazy. Their minds are easily taken over, just like the mind of my sister was taken over by some spell coming from America, for crying out loud. People are unable to exercise self-control that don't belong to God. So in the absence of joining the bandwagon of Jesus Christ, everybody is just a zombie for the Matrix. Everybody can be indwelt by the agents in the Matrix, if you know what I mean. And when that's the case, when almost everybody that you talk to can be turned, when everybody that gives you help, my little sister, supportive, to a certain extent, not too much, please don't give her too much credit, but like she was helpful in the sense that my mom was really horrible and mean, and she decided to stand to help out because she saw that this is not fair and I'm not comfortable with this situation continuing the way that it continued. And that small little reprieve that I got, that small little drop of water that I got from my little sister, somebody shot an arrow at it. Somebody shot an arrow at the smallest little compassion that I got. The smallest little mercy that I got. I'm literally being driven into suicide. When I keep saying I'm not going to kill myself, I won't do it. But they're like, well, we're going to see if we can't inspire you mightily to ultimately get there. I'm beleaguered. And it appears the Lord is not doing anything to eradicate the situation. But He is. He's raising up the wicked to knock each other out. Because absent of them knocking each other out, I indeed would be driven to a point of oblivion, to a point of believing that there's nothing going on here, to a point of taking my own life, to a point of thinking Christ has left me. Let me just come to heaven, because really, what's left? This guy in America knocked my sister out that I might have no reprieve. That I might just continually just keep getting afflicted. Wire, 24/7. With no relief. With nobody helping. With nobody even trying to see if I'm okay. With nobody even batting an eyelid at my sorrow. That's what's going on. The church is like Ananias and Sapphira. Cults are operating. Christians are dizzy from spells. I don't know whether they're coming or going. They've got their own issues. And those that are okay are naive, like I said. And again, Ananias and Sapphira. Barely by the skin of their teeth entering into heaven. That's what's going on. Everything is just falling apart. But it's rather falling into place. So God has got to take this guy in America out of the way to reprieve me from constantly being knocked out by my family members in deep sorrow, thinking nothing is going to happen, nothing's coming for me, despite me being given all these prophecies to understand what's rather actually going to happen. That's what's good. The wicked will knock each other out until the Lord raptures the church. That's how we're going to gain temporary relief, but it will not be, like I said, it's only temporary. It's only temporary because the attacks are going to keep coming and coming and coming and coming. And they're going to be stealthy and pernicious and surprise. Just like what happened in Israel with Hamas attacking and killing a whole bunch of civilians and all that disturbing footage doing its rounds on social media. Keep happening over and over and over and over. But we're also going to keep getting delivered by the wicked bashing each other's heads in because the church is currently not strong enough. The last days church will be purified, Philadelphia indeed, and Smyrna indeed. The other churches will be given a letter, warnings as to what are their random insanities, but the great apostasy is a thing. In the sense that people are going to fall away from the faith and take heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. They are going to fall away. So the church, the number of Christians, it's already small. The Bible makes it clear that narrow is the road that leads to life and few people find it. It's going to be even smaller, that number, in the last days, because we have been guaranteed a falling away. And mind you, when you've got an earth full of persecuting people that are causing Facebook accounts to have no engagement on them at all. So you're uploading content for nothing. A YouTube video you uploaded, you get 5 views. Are you serious? 5 views on a video you spoke about for like ever and a day. Like you literally spoke your lungs out to try and send a warning out to people and you only get 5 views. What motivation do I have to keep doing this work? What motivation? It's the fact that I am aware that once the rapture has happened, people are going to listen to me. And they're going to download my content and listen to it in caves, wherever it is that they're living now in the tribulation. I only work because I understand that the tribulation is nigh, and that people will eventually listen to me in their numbers. I already prophesied this Christian content just at the very beginning of the tribulation. In other words, just after the rapture has happened and before Facebook, YouTube, and all these people have brought down all Christian content, is going to blossom so violently that it's going to be like celebrity music video droppings. Like when celebrities drop a music video, you know how they've got 1 million views within like just a couple of hours type thing, and then after like maybe a couple of weeks have progressed, sometimes you could even be hovering at the billions of views for that particular video. The Lord showed me that Christian content is going to start to skyrocket, blossom like that after the rapture, where literally some little old lady that was uploading a video about the rapture will be sitting on near on 1 billion views, because of people wanting to find out what in the world is going on. And it is going to be people interested in such videos as these that's going to cause platforms like YouTube, platforms like Facebook to then bring these videos down as misinformation, as fear mongering and all that jazz, but not before first sparking so much interest that people will cause Christian content to get that many views. It's gonna happen. And also people are gonna be wise enough to know to download the content. So all of my work that I'm doing right now, I understand is not in vain, because in the first few months, weeks to months of the rapture having happened, my stuff is gonna get downloaded and then watched remotely in places where people are trying to find out what in the world happened, what's going on. So that's why I keep working. But when you are demotivated the way that I am because of such low numbers, when you upload content with your analytics getting worse and worse because Facebook is deliberately worsening your status as your engagement analytics, and YouTube has shadow banned you to a frozen level, to a point where even some videos you don't even get 5 views. You literally sit on 0 for like 3-4 days and nobody has watched it, but you keep uploading. I have given myself comfort by, what do you call this, not even looking at my analytics, but some of my videos are like that and it looks like I'm wasting time. But I spare myself the heartbreak by not looking at my analytics. That's what I'm getting at. Because the day's going to arrive when some of my videos are literally like as well viewed as a Sam Smith or an Adele video. Like billions, hovering, like, you know, Happy, yeah, Pharrell is sitting on over 1 billion views on YouTube. Yeah, you know that a video has done really well when it's got that B next to it type setup thing. That's what's gonna happen. So I know I am not wasting time, and I know that my life has not been wasted, and I also know that the reprieve that I'm gonna get is not going to be like a violent, flowery, blossomed breakthrough. It's just going to be basically the tantamount or the equivalent of this random menace in America getting knocked out. And so there's less witchcraft of a perverse nature, because this guy, I've got a lot of people putting witchcraft on me, I get it, but his is special. Why? Because he is a pervert. It is heavily sexual. It's never mind just it being sexual. It's forceful. He's crazy. He's mad. He's a stalker. It's a unique attack that I'm enduring from this guy, such that once he's nipped out of the bud, and once he's been taken out of the way, once it's been nipped in the bud, I will have a great amount of relief, because every other demonic attack, I can handle it without wanting to vomit. But this guy makes me want to vomit. He makes me want to hurl. He is disgusting and irrelevant. He's like a toothache, I said that, in a body that is struggling with cancer. If we can just deal with a minuscule issue, but that is nonetheless very grieving to the body, we can then focus on the grander matter that is very, very problematic. That's what's good. So that's how I get relief. It's mild, it's not a lot, it's not complete breakthrough, but it's enough to keep me going. Because it also means that my family members are not going to be all of a sudden like puppets on a string from some naive guy that wants to move to South Africa, even though he has no business visiting another country and being a menace therein too. He is Dennis in America. Let him stay there. Let him stay Dennis the Menace in America. We don't need another menace in South Africa. We have enough of our own. We've got more than enough, teeming at the folds, jumping up and down in these streets, doing a strange thing on our own. We've got enough filthy men, abatwele, hard knock in the country. We don't need more. We don't need more. Things are going to get worse and worse for Christians. Those Christians that aren't going to necessarily experience too much hardship. It's only because God will always make sure that there's some reprieve available somewhere for Christians. And there's got to be either Christians available or people whose minds are still normal. I found out the other day that apparently all-cause deaths, mortality essentially, have risen by 40% ever since 2020 or something. And I don't even want to get into why the reason that is, but the fact that 40% more people have passed away since 2020. There is something ominous and weird about that. There is a lot going on earth right now that people are not focusing on as they ought. But as Christians, we see it. And so because we see it, we are anticipating what is inevitably going to happen. But in the run-up to, people think we've been forsaken by God, but the world has been handed over. For Hamas, for instance, to be so dumb as to attack Israel like that. I mean, they are not as well armed as Israel, and yet they went on right ahead and did that attack at the expense of Palestinians. So a war is going to happen, and carnage is going to happen, and they're going to get butchered. But I guess the Lord is the one that puts hooks in jaws. The Lord is the one that makes a person do a dumb thing. The Lord is the one that confounds a person's speech, that causes a stealthy, pernicious attack. Whatever it is that they did, they were planning it obviously for months, and they ought have known. It's like, I don't even know how to describe what Hamas has done. It's like little children robbing the one cocaine stash of a kingpin drug dealer and then they shoot on the foot the security guard of that drug dealer. And then they run away and they feel excited because they got free cocaine. And then when they get home, a war has been declared on the families of those children because they dared come against such a heavy man in the city. That's what Hamas did. Israel is going to nail them down. It's going to squash them underneath their feet. However, it's got allies. That's why it did Lasso. It is trusting on Syria. It is trusting on Lebanon. It is trusting on all these other surrounding nations, and they will indeed come to the rescue, but not first before Hamas gets squashed to the ground. And that squashing of Hamas to the ground is going to also inspire a greater war amidst the Islamists and the Jews. And so Gog and Magog, that's what I think is going on right now. When you see these things happening, therefore, look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh. The rapture is at the door. My little sister might just snap out of Tabayo. She's a puppet on a string because I got taken away in the harpazzo. My mom might just remember that a couple of days or weeks before the rapture happened, my daughter, I properly, for the life of me, was trying to throw away her ditlepes because I imagined they were muddying my floor. How unimportant were these issues? Things are ramping up. They're culminating to a place. Even the fact that I now today can't stand America, that in and of itself is a sign of the end of days and the judgment and the judged state. Because I started out very supportive, very pro-America, but after what they did to me, them with their Facebook and their YouTube, they're shadow banning a woman that could not afford to be continuously abused by her own country, and then they unleashed a beast on me that they did not do anything about when I complained. Now I can't stand them. I just see them as this crazy country that won't do what is right. And that is in and of itself a judgment. Because America has got to be annihilated out of the way. It has to lose global confidence so that it is not there to stand in the gap for Israel during Gog and Magog. It has to be finished off. It has to lose its clout. It has to lose people like me. Those that would stand for it, that it might in and of itself not be strong enough to stand for Israel. All these things are coming together. All these things are coming together. But hey, you don't gotta listen to me. In fact, you won't listen to me. Nobody is listening to me except for a few people in the occult that surveil my work and cast spells to make sure I never get out. But I did say that the rapture is happening and that the Lord made it clear to me that he's going to give me an apartment before the rapture happens. I don't even know how that's going to happen given the level of censorship that is all over my channels. Even my dance ministry, my fitness has been afflicted. This guy in America has cast a spell on it too. But God made it clear to me that ngizopumalana. So how that's going to happen, we shall see. But I'm definitely going to monetize something, especially my fitness. I'm pretty sure about that. Because there's got to be some element of reprieve, however small it might be, for the church. Otherwise, none of us would be saved. None of us would survive. We would not be okay because the world has gone crazy on us. Now that South Africa is aware, a little bit, I guess, however few of them listen to me, of the nature, of the nature of the church, the state. Amasonto enu, ucela bathakathi, prayers are hitting brick walls. The effective fervent prayer of a righteous man is what avails much, and South African churches are not availing much. Do you understand? Your country's falling apart to a point where perverts are trying to come and live here permanently because they realize that you've lost your mind. Yeah. And you're busy competing with like a complete stranger you don't even know on the internet. I mean, just the fact that a woman that I did not even know that I met, who found my channel and wrote me in my form, contacted me personally. Just the fact that after a couple of weeks of knowing me, she cast spells on me. It says a lot about South Africa. It says a lot about the state of the South African church. Because she was speaking Christianese. She was writing me emails that I could relate to because we were fellowshipping in Christ. and she prospered too. Out of all of that, and just pull out a rabbit out of a hat, throw a fast one in my grill, and slap me with witchcraft. That's the South African church. You are fellowshipping with people that are consulting disangoma, that are cult members, that run entire covens in your churches. It is no wonder nobody is getting anywhere. Do not look at your state living around in South Africa as an employed person and you think that you're cool. My little sister, for instance, she walks around like everything is cool. She does life like everything is cool. Every so often I overhear her speaking with her friends on the phone, but speaker, like she's cool. Her friends be thinking she's cool, but when she opens her eyes and looks around at the home where she lives, there is an anomaly. There is a violently persecuted and extremely and exorbitantly abused member of her family living on the same property as her. Nothing is normal. So even people who are acting like all is cool are posers. They're lying. Because my little sister is a poser. She acts normal and is living a thriving normal life amidst other people who are also acting normal when there's nothing normal. There is something weird happening in their ecosystems, every one of them, but every one of them is pretending. And they're cheersing, they're toasting. Every one of them is holding someone hostage. Every one of them has a sibling they're not treating right. Every one of them has got a family member that's got a weird life in comparison to everybody, but they're all acting like normal. Who are you ignoring, or are you the one ignored? What are you walking past that you're not supposed to be walking past? That evidences that there is nothing normal anymore. So when then you get left behind, once the rapture happens, you had it coming because you were not sober or vigilant enough to recognize that it is not okay for human beings to carry on like life is normal when everything is falling apart. For you to deliberately go out of your way to act cool when there's nothing cool evidences that you are literally in hard knock coping mode. You're in survival mode, and survival mode has never sustained anyone. There is no true peace. So all the best continuing to act like that's a thing. As for this guy in America, Hak Freestad, please, what is this? Pakistan. Kipan lenja. Kipani lenja. Lerata lawyer akir kupale monteng, cause he can only be taken out by you and the occult. I've spoken my piece. I'm signing out in Christ's name, Kwenke. Bye.